there, Morbid Maniacs. It's time for another spooky video, a part of Vlogtober. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be telling you guys a creepy story, which I'm pretty sure is nothing more than fiction, that my mom used to sit down and tell me and my sister when we were little kids. This story always did freak me out ever since I can remember, and I thought I would share it with you guys. Now, I don't remember like every detail of the story, but I tried to remember it, so I'm going to tell you guys to the best of my ability. The story goes that late one night, a young girl's parents decided to have some quality time alone. And since this young girl was old enough, they decided to let her stay there by herself. They told her not to answer the door for anyone and to lock it up, and then they left for the night. Everything was going perfectly fine and normal at the beginning of this evening. That was until a few hours later. The young girl was sitting in her bedroom when she heard a faint voice coming from outside her window. The voice said, frightened that somebody was outside of her house, she carefully pulled back the curtain and looked out her window. It was completely dark outside at this point, and the only light that was there was the small little street light, which was shining on a giant oak tree which they had in their backyard. The wind blew, and the branches on this tree swayed eerily. The girl had a chill run down her spine. After a few moments had passed, she went back to sitting in her bedroom, trying to forget the voices that she had heard. This was her first ever time staying home alone by herself, and she wanted to prove to her parents that she was old and grown enough to. She thought it was over, but it wasn't. About 20 minutes later, she hears the voices calling out to her again. It was almost as if the wind was speaking them through the rustles of the leaves. They were speaking her name. So she decided it was time to brave it out and go outside to see what these noises actually were. At this point, it was getting pretty late, but she really wanted to ease her mind of the worrying. So she slipped on her shoes, unlocked the door, and stepped outside. The wind was still blowing, and the leaves in the trees were still rustling. Voices were still speaking to her, calling her into their presence. She walked off her porch and followed where these voices were coming from, inching closer and closer, the voices getting louder and louder. They were coming from the tree. The young girl got closer and stood in front of the tree, staring up at it. She couldn't believe what she was hearing or what was actually going on. She leaned in closer and pressed her ear against the tree's bark. It was then that the tree and her became one. Her soul became embedded into this tree, and the girl herself was gone. When her parents had returned home the next day, they were shocked to find their daughter was nowhere to be found. They called out and searched for her. They went walking around their entire neighborhood, yet there was no sign of her anywhere. The only sign that was left of their daughter were the voices which they would hear late at night. The parents could never figure out just where these voices were coming from. However, they sounded a lot like their daughter, yet she was gone. It was almost as if she had vanished into thin air. The girl was never seen again after that. However, many people in the neighborhood believed that old oak tree to be haunted, and would always hear these voices coming from it late at night. At times, there would even be sprinkles of blood which would run down the trunk of this tree. No one has an explanation for this, and to this very day, the young girl is still missing. So, what do you guys think of that little story? I'm not sure if I told it like 100% accurately, because my mom used to tell me such a long time ago when I was younger, but it always would freak me out. It never failed. Always. But I thought of it randomly when I was doing research for Vlogtober, and I just had to share it with you guys. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become a Morbid Maniac. And be sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next one.